All right, Shalom to Brother Shamar from the Phoenix camp. With that being said, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QUADASH. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the brothers that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, man. I'm just going to jump right to the scriptures, 1 Samuel 15 and 22. And Samuel said, has the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken in the fat of rams. And that's the whole point of this chapter right here, man. Because if we're gonna go into the chapter, and it basically explains how Saul was given specific orders to to do a specific task and mission, but he went about it on his own opinions, his own feelings, his own emotions, on his own, on his own, pretty much, on his own way. He's trying to do it his own way, and the Lord counted it as disobedience, man. I'm just gonna jump up into the chapter, and I'm gonna get what exactly Saul was ordered to do by the Most High. And this is 1 Samuel 15 and 2. It says, "Thus says the Lord of hosts," and this is what he's telling Saul what to do. "Thus says the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel." And Amalek is of course an enemy of Israel. They were enemy in that day, and they're still enemy to this day. Amalek being the so-called Jews. "I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when they came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that he hath, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox, sheep, camel, and ass." So the Lord wanted vengeance, and he was going to get that vengeance through the hand of Saul. And he put forth that mission on Saul to go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that he hath. So he was supposed to go into that city and destroy absolutely everything, sparing none, it says, man, and spare them not. So he was just supposed to go and make it desolate, pretty much. And as you read on, you keep on going. It tells you that he didn't obey the voice of the Lord. This is verse 9. "But Saul and the people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep and of the oxen, of the fatlings, the lambs, and all that was good, and will not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refused, that they utterly destroyed." So he thought that he could do it his way. He can meet the requirements halfway. He thought he could still be pleasing to the Lord. Well, I'll just destroy the everything that's not good, but I'll keep everything that's good. I'll take the spoil, pretty much. But he wasn't commanded to take the spoil. He was commanded to destroy absolutely everything. "Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, It repenteth me that have set up Saul to be king, for he has turned back from following me, and performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night." So the Lord was mad, man. The Lord was mad of Saul's actions, and he was going to get a judgment for that. And I'm going to keep on. I'm going to jump down to verse 13. "And Samuel said to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou, O Lord, I performed the command of the Lord." So in his eyes, in his own mind, he thought he was obeying the Lord, man. He thought he was fulfilling the Lord's requirements, but he was trying to do them his way. And the thing about it, you can't do it your way. You got to do it according to the will of the Most High, man. According to the commandments that we were given, according to the word of the word, man. You do this thing according to the word. It's not of your own opinion, your own emotion, your own thoughts, your own feelings. It's none of that. It's according to the commandment of the Most High. So Samuel's going to give Saul a rebuke for that. Verse 14. "And Samuel said, What meanest then this bleating of the sheep in my ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, you obey the command of the Lord. Then how come I still hear animals that you were supposed to destroy?" And Saul said, verse 15, "And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep and the oxen to sacrifice the Lord thy power, and the rest we have already destroyed. So he thought he thought he can get away with it by making the excuse, well, I got the best sheep so I can sacrifice them to the Lord. But that wasn't like I said, man, that wasn't the commandment that was given. That wasn't the order that was given. The order that was given to destroy everything. Then Samuel said unto Saul, stay and I will tell thee what the Lord has said to me this night. And he said unto him, stay on. So stay on. And so he said, you stay right there. I'm gonna tell you what's up, man. And this is verse 17. And Samuel said, when thou was little in thine own sight, was thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? The Lord anointed thee king over Israel. And weren't you appointed this office? Weren't you given this responsibility? In verse 18, the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, go and utterly destroy the sinners of the Amalekites and fight against them till they be consumed. And didn't the Lord give you a mission, a specific order to destroy the Amalekites and everything there that they have? 19. Wherefore didn't thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but just fly upon the spoil and is evil on the side of the Lord? So why did you go? Why did you go do things your way? So he's being brought into judgment. He's being brought forth to answer for his actions. So basically he's okay. So give me a reason why you didn't want to obey the Lord, and that's a scary thing, man. And that's why we in this truth, we got to be careful how we act, man. We got to be careful what we say. You got to be careful what we do and how we do it and to who we do it to, because everything is weighed, man. It says in the book of Samuel, I think in the previous chapter, it says by him actions are weighed. So it's very important to measure yourself, your actions, your intentions, your purposes in this truth and in your walk. Because the Lord sees everything, man. And the Lord required us to do a certain mission. He required us to do it a certain way with a certain behavior. And you go off on that mission, and you go off on that behavior, and you go off on that way of doing it, then you have to answer for it, basically. And we verse 19 again said, wherefore then thou did not obey the voice of the Lord, but thou fliest upon the spoil, and this evil in the sight of the Most High. And Saul said unto Samuel, yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord has sent me. I brought Agag, the king of the Amalek, and have already destroyed the Amalekites. And so Saul in his mind, he's thinking that he's doing it. He's doing the work, man. He's thinking that that he did right. He's trying to argue that he's still thinking in his mind, man. He still think that he's right, man. That he's 100%. When in fact he was halfway. He was 50%. He was half-assed with it, man, because he wasn't given the commandment. He wasn't given the order to spare anything. He was given the order to spare nothing. And in verse 21, but the people took it to spoil sheep and oxen and sheep, the things which should have been early destroyed, to sacrifice Lord thy power in Gilgal. So now he's blaming the people. But you as the king, you were supposed to tell the people what to do. You was a commander of the army. I'm going to go back to verse 22. And Samuel said, has the Lord as a great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, to hearken than the fat of rams. So to obey is better than sacrifice. The Lord didn't care about you saving the best oxen, the best sheep to sacrifice. He cared about whether you obeyed him or not. He didn't care about, going through the motions of sacrificing sheep and oxen. He cared about obedience, man, because obedience is what is acceptable to the Lord, man. That's what the Lord requires. And I'm going to read verse 23. For rebellion is a sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Most High, he has also rejected from being king. So he was taken out of his office. He was taken out of his position, man, for his rebellion, his stubbornness. He was being stubborn, man. He had a stubborn spirit upon him. Stubbornness is iniquity and idolatry. Why? That's hard right there, man. That's a hard saying right there, and you really think about it. Stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Why? Because you're obeying your own mentality. You're obeying your own will rather than the Most High. So you're bowing down to your own mentality, your own way of thinking and doing things, instead of to the Most High. So stubbornness is an iniquity as iniquity and idolatry, man. So it's, it's like you're rejecting the Lord pretty much, because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, because that's what it is. You rejected the word of the Most High, and you're obeying something else. So that's idolatry. He has also rejected thee from being king. So that's a hard lesson right there, man. That should put the fear in the Lord in anybody. Salakia. That should put the fear of the Lord in anybody, man. And with that, I'm just gonna get a few scriptures, proving that the Lord He requires that we obey rather than you know, going through the motions of doing the work, because that what the sacrifices ultimately symbolizes. It symbolizes repentance for your sins, and what Israel was doing at that time. I think that time they were making sacrifices and continuing to sin. The sacrifice was correct in the way they were doing it, but the repentant heart wasn't there. The integrity behind it wasn't there. Therefore the Lord said He requires obedience better than sacrifice, man. And with that, I'm going to get Proverbs 21:3. Just a few quick scriptures. And this is just a lesson that I did over again, because I went back and reviewed it, and I kind of missed, switched words around. And when I went to say Samuel, I said Saul, and I meant to say Saul. I said Samuel. And that happens, man. You got two names that sound the same, and it get twisted in your tongue. But well, that's why I did the lesson. That's why I'm doing the lesson over again, man. Because I know brothers probably heard the video, probably said, yeah, they understand what I was talking about. But I just did it in case, like, somebody new in the truth, man. I didn't want to really confuse them. But anyways, that's why I'm doing this lesson over again. This is Proverbs 21:3. To do justice and judgment is more acceptable to the Most High than sacrifice. And and to justice and judgment. So justice and judgment is what, man? That's having integrity in your actions and your decisions. That's what it is. It's more acceptable to the Lord in sacrifice, and high look and a proud heart, the plan of the wicked is sin. So pride and a high look, basically that's being full of yourself, and the plowing of the wicked is sin. That's sin, man. That's sin. Being full of yourself, thinking that you got it, thinking that you it, thinking that you the man. Yeah, that's a sin to the Lord, man, because we're not called to be the man. There's only one, the man. That's the Most High. That's YAHAWASHI, man. He's the man. We ain't nothing. We're just unprofitable. We're just unprofitable servants, man. Our filthiness is as our righteousness as filthy rags. So we have nothing to boast of. We have nothing to speak of. We are nothing in the sight of the Most High, man. The only reason that any one of us is in this truth is by the grace of the Most High, and that's it. And that's it, man. We're at His mercy every day. Gratitude should be you should have a spirit of gratitude just for knowing these scriptures and breakdowns. You know, because we're not nothing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, man. Whatever wisdom you got, the Lord gave it to you. What's that? I'm gonna get John 14:15. It's John 14:15. It says, "As you love me, keep my commandments." And that goes again, once again, obedience. Obedience is what required, man, because that's what love is. Love is keeping the commandments. That's what love is. Love is obedience, man. If you have a wife and she truly loves you, she'll listen to you. She'll listen to everything you have to say, and you'll love her. And you'll love her for that. You'll love her that she's obedient to you. Same thing if you have some children, and if they're obedient to you, then you'll love your children for being obedient to you. But if their children are rebellious, then you're gonna be pissed off, man. You're not gonna be pissed off. You're gonna be frustrated with them. It's what the same thing with the Most High, man. He loves us when we obey Him. That's how we show our love to the Lord, by obeying His commandments. That's why it says clearly in John 14:15, red letter spoken by Jesus, what you call Jesus Christ. The real name is YAHAWASHI. If you love me, keep my commandments. So that's what it is, man. Instead, I'm going to get a Psalm 51:6. Just a few scriptures. Psalm 51:6. It says, behold, thou desirest truth in the inward parts, in the hidden part that shall make me to know wisdom. So that's what the Lord requires, man. He desires truth in the inward parts. He requires your integrity from the inner man. The outward appearance, your outward, what you show to people on the outside, that don't mean nothing. On the outside, you can be a super Israelite, man. You can have the tightest garment. You can know all the precepts, all the breakdowns. But that's you could go through. You can know how to go through the motions of doing this truth, of doing this work. But if your mentality and your integrity and your mind and your spirit is not humble, is not in the right place, then the Lord ain't looking at that, man. We read that back again, Psalm 51:6. Behold, thou desirest truth in the inward parts, and the hidden part thou shalt make me to know wisdom. Thou desirest truth in the inward parts, man. That's what the Lord requires. He desires truth in the inward parts. There's another precept for that. Let me get it real quick. And with that, I'm going to get 1 Samuel 16:7. It says, but the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature. And that's talking about Saul, because I refused him. Because Saul was a tough looking dude, I guess, man. And he was higher, taller than all the people of Israel. So he was probably what they call a macho man looking dude, or what they call nowadays an alpha male. He was probably a man that people looked at him, they respected him. They saw something about him that, hey, that's a he's a macho dude, macho type of guy. In other words, man. Because I refuse him, for the Lord seeth not as man seeth. So people, they look at the outward appearance, man. They look at how much money you got, and how much, how nice your clothes are, what your position in the world is, uh, you know, things like that. But that's all outward glory, and that can be bought, and that can be taken away from you, you know. I'm gonna read that back again. It says, for the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. So that inward man is very important, man. With that, I'm going to get John 4:24. John 4:24. And it says, Yahweh is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. So, what's in yourself, man? Where's your spirit? Your spirit's inside of you. Your spirit is your inner man. Your spirit is your inward man. And that's how you got to show your integrity and your gratitude and your obedience to the Most High with your spirit. And you got to do it truthfully. You got to do it with integrity, man. You must worship him in spirit and truth. So integrity and that's what counts, man. That's what counts above all things. Integrity and obedience to the Most High. Not saying that we're not gonna go off, man. We are gonna go off. We are all these chains of darkness, and we're gonna go off. We're gonna stumble. We're gonna fall. But we have to have integrity in doing so. You can still have integrity and stumble, as long as you have the integrity to get back up, to repent, to notice, to see your shortcomings and the things that you fall short of, and do your best to correct them, man, and have that repentant spirit about you. That's what the Lord looks at. This is Romans, I think 7:2. I'm just gonna get a few more scriptures. I'm gonna close it out. Romans 7:2. And it says that in it. I think it's 24. Kindness 22. Romans 7:22 says, fight the light in the law of Yahawah after the inward man. So our spirit, man, that's what it's about. That's our integrity. That's what it's about. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. So that flesh, or wretched man that I am, that's talking about the outside man, who shall deliver me from from the body of this death. So this flesh is what can be your downfall. When talking about the flesh, that's kind of talk about that carnal mentality also, man. That mentality of pride, the mentality of thinking you got it figured out. That's a carnal mentality. That mentality of being contentious, murmuring. That's a carnal mentality, man. The Lord requires humility, and he requires obedience, man. And sometimes in the process of doing that, you're gonna have to take some L's. You're gonna have to take some L's, man. And with that, I'm gonna get 1 Peter 2:19. You're gonna have to take the L whether you think you deserve it or not. And that the Lord sees that. He sees that as humility, as humbleness. Is in 1 Peter 2:19, and it says, for this is thankworthy if a man for conscience toward Yahawah endure grief suffering wrongfully. For that's thankworthy, man. For what glory is it if when you are buffeted for your faults, you shall take it patiently? But if when you do well and suffer for it, you take it patiently, this is acceptable with Yahawah, man. So taking that L, man, that's part of humility. That's part of being in this truth. Taking multiple L's, you know. Whether you think you in the right or not, man, you let the Lord sort it out. Instead, I'm gonna get 2 Corinthians 1:12 because that talks about fleshly wisdom. And that's what Samuel used when he disobeyed the Lord. He used fleshly wisdom because he thought, okay, well, if I say the best of the sheep as sacrifices, then I'm still obeying the Lord because the Lord still wants sacrifice. But that wasn't the commandment though. It's 2 Corinthians 1:12. No, it's like that on Samuel Saul. I keep on getting that mixed up, man. Anyways, 2 Corinthians 1:12. It says, for rejoicing in this is this, the testimony of our conscience, that in simplicity and godly sincerity. So simplicity, man, and godly sincerity, and that's integrity, man. That's worshiping the Lord in spirit and truth. But by the grace of God, we have had our conversation in the world, and to abundantly to you word. Let me see. So I can run that back. For rejoicing is this, the testimony of our conscience, that in simplicity and godly sincerity, worshiping the Lord in spirit and truth, not with fleshly wisdom, not with a carnal mentality, not with your own opinion, not with your own feelings, not your way, but by the grace of Yahweh, we have had our conversation in the world, and more to you abundantly to you word. So not with fleshly wisdom, but with what? Simplicity and a godly sincerity, man. That's how we're supposed to operate. That's how we're supposed to conduct ourselves. You know. And with that, I'm gonna get Psalm 51:6. Psalms 51:6, and it says, behold, thou desires truth in the inward parts, and the hidden part thou shalt make me to know wisdom. So that's what it is, the inward parts, man. And if you jump down to verse 17, 16, it breaks it down again right there for you. Psalm 51:16, for thou desirest not sacrifice, going back to 1 Samuel 50:22. To obey is better than sacrifice. Else would I give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offerings. The sacrifices, and these are the true sacrifices that we are supposed to give up unto the Most High. Salakia. The sacrifices of Yahweh are this is going to break it down, or a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart, or Yahweh thou will not despise. So that's having a meek and humble spirit, man. That goes contrary. That goes against having a proud and I got it right spirit, man. The Lord not requiring that. The Lord requires this, a meek and humble spirit. So the opposite of that is what? A proud and a proud and condemning spirit, man. That proud I know it all spirit. That's opposite of that. So this is what it is, man. This is what the Lord requires. This is what the Lord accepts. I'm gonna read that again. Sacrifices of Yahweh are a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart. O Yahweh, thou will not despise. The Lord's not going to despise that sacrifice. The Lord's not going to despise your humility, your meekness. He's going to accept that. With that being said, I hope the lesson was edifying. With that, I want to say, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawashi, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawashi, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawashi, Shalom.